and welcome once again to the Defense Chronicles. This is Leslie Bocobo. Tonight we have with us the spokesperson for the defense team, Atty. Karen Jimeno. Good evening, Atty. Karen. Before I begin, allow me to quote my grandfather, the former Justice of the Supreme Court, Jorge Bocobo, when he said in the Civil Code, Article 19, every person must, in the exercise of his rights and in the performance of his duties, act with justice, give everyone his due, observe honesty and good faith. Yesterday we had an officer of the Land Registration Authority tell me, based on Article 19, what he did.
Well, basically, by definition of Article 19, what he did was a violation of this article of the Civil Code.
Yes.
And obviously, he did not act with justice, nor did he observe honesty and good faith when he released that list, that certification of the 45 properties. Because if you can say na, okay, fine, maybe the scope of the search was too wide, that he typed in Renato Corona, and
yes,
then as a result, like, all those hits came out. But then he also admitted during questioning by the senator judges that he also typed in the names of the daughters, which also included their husbands, the in-laws of
yes,
Chief Justice Corona, and also the wife. So obviously he was going beyond the search. But then what is also very important here, which I think was more of the cause of him violating Article 19 of the Civil Code, is the fact that after he came up with the list and saw that by observation, if 45 is not a huge or long list, you can already see that several of those were canceled titles, and some of them were even in the name of other people.
Yes.
One of them very recognizable, Matay, diba?
Ismail Matay.
So you could already say now, okay, this does not belong to Chief Justice Corona.
Yes.
So it's either you take it out of the list, or at least include in the certification a very clear qualification that says this is the list that was generated by a computer search, but please note that a lot of the properties are already canceled titles or titles in the name of other people. So yun yung kahit na precautionary statement man lang, but in the court, inside the court, some of the senator judges read yung certification niya, and it clearly stated that upon your request, these are the properties in the name of Renato Corona. So that was, I think, a clear mistake, and also I don't think you can claim honesty and good faith when you do that. Good faith especially.
Is there a difference between typing the full name, let's say Renato Corona, as against Renato Coronado Corona? Will we get the same results, or there's a vast of a difference there?
Well, it's hard to say in terms of getting results, because
yes,
this goes into programming language, no?
Yes.
And we don't know what type of programming they did for this search engine that they have.
Yes.
But they said it was experimental. But then, as with, I'm sure you've tried this with Google, no?
Yes.
If you write in any keywords, usually any hits that would have either Renato or Coronado or
yes,
Corona
yes,
would come out, and
right,
unless you put them either in parentheses,
yes,
quotation marks, sorry.
Yes.
So those are the things that might be different, but we don't even know if the program can do that if you put them in quotation marks. But the point is, it might have generated hits that were beyond any of those keywords. Because obviously that's the case. Kasi meron mga tayong iba, nasa Spouses Riviera yung titulo. So that might be the case here, na it's not necessarily Renato, Corona, or Coronado, na may lalabas pa rin na hits na wala doon sa search keywords.
Obviously, if you do not search specifically on a certain person or a place, you will get a huge number of results. For example, if I go to Google and I just type Corona, I will probably get the name of Chief Justice Corona, I will get Corona beer, I will get Corona cigars. Is this likened to the way the LRA administrator did his search on the Chief Justice?
Well, I don't think it's going to be that random, because this is the LRA, so everything that was within their database would be related to property, no? But I think what was different here was the fact that he also seemed to have typed in not only the name of Renato Coronato Corona, but also the names of the daughters.
Yes.
And which also included the in-laws. So this was really beyond the scope of the search requested for.
Now, he did mention about certain rules that they applied on the method of searching. He said that a rule had been applied after the search had been made on the Chief Justice. Now, he was questioned by Senator Judge Ferdinand Marcos, asking him, why did you not apply the rule before a search was made? What is your reaction on this, Karen?
What specific rule are we talking about?
He was trying to say that a certain method had to be adopted in order to come out with a specific number of results on his search. Rules. He was talking about rules. Can you explain this further?
Well, to be honest, I'm not sure. It's not clear to me with the question
Yes.
what rules we're talking about here. But I think what's important with the line of questioning of Senator Marcos was that this is a government agency. This is not any private individual where you're asking for a favor. So there has to be credibility and order in the system.
Yes.
And this is not only going to affect this current impeachment,
Yes.
but we're talking about a government agency that handles queries and requests, and also obviously this is the repository of our information regarding registered lands. So
Yes.
it's very important that they have a certain system that is credible and also responsible, wherein if you have private individuals asking for information, they can give accurate information, not overbroad, and also very credible, and also not violative of the rights and also the privacy of other people. Because can you imagine here, it's a good thing na wala namang kinalaman yung mga walang kinalaman dito ay hindi naman nadamay, di ba? But
Yes.
can you imagine in any other proceeding where we have another individual asking for details about a certain person with regard to his properties, and
Yes.
then it also, you release as a government agency, LRA releases to them a list which would include people like spouses Rivera and Ismael Matay.
That's right.
That type of
And the
information
NHA,
can be
yes.
misused.
Yes.
So that's the responsibility we're looking for here, that they have to have siguro parameters for their search, and also with respect to results,
Yes.
even if their search engine is imperfect, the way that they would handle the information that comes out of it, they have to have maybe at the moment a manual system of filtering out the irrelevant information, so that they have to make sure na wala silang release na private information to other people when they get certain requests.
We also heard from the LRA administrator that after he had done a search on Renato Corona et al., he disabled the system. But again, after that, he also mentioned that he had anticipated requests from media. Therefore, he prepared a list of these properties. What is your reaction on this?
Well, I think with the fact that he anticipated, if he did anticipate that he was going to get requests from media, that
Yes.
should have only raised his caution, his level of caution approaching this, because then you know that this would already involve the media, which would be able to use that information. It's para saan pa ba ang media, di ba?
Yes.
If they get hold of information, they will of course use it in relation to the public, di ba? So if there's anything that, any effect that would have, I think the LRA administrator should have exercised more caution when he handled the information, and if he said he disabled that and the search engine afterwards, then it raises two questions. First, are you disabling it because you recognize that there was an imperfection in using that search engine? And then if you do recognize an imperfection, then you should have cautioned yung pinagbigyan mo ng information, or you should have been more careful then about releasing information. Another side of the story is if was it disabled because it was only used for the specific person of searching someone's properties, then that would also shed light on siguro yung doubt nga dito kung ano ba yung purpose ng search. Did he even know this was for an impeachment? Because Senator Legarda earlier was saying na the witness was kind of she used the word flip-flopping na paiba-iba. She was asking, did you know if this was for the impeachment? At one point he said no, and then another point he said yes. So are we using then the arm of the government to specifically persecute someone, and in this case the Chief Justice? So yun yung mga question that I think arises from this incident.